It was this way, correct? Yes. Didn't really expect to have to go back here, but I don't know. So there is a bell here. If the theory is correct, this one should work, right? I mean, it shouldn't differ in any sort of way which one I use. Can you wake me up? Maybe I didn't die correctly? I'm disappointed. Huh. I did doze off while being roasted. So I stopped taking damage when I went to sleep. Do I just need to time it correctly then? It moves me... Huh? What did I do? Did it bug it out? That's weird. Oh. Huh. Guess I have to wait until the end of the loop then. Cannot meditate? Well, gives me some more time to think. So does this not work? Honestly, seemed like a great idea looking back on it. Definitely timed it right. I'm still alive, how disappointing. Yeah. This honestly sounded, like in my head, it sounded like a pretty cool idea. I thought I would be able to stand it up on top of the fire. Maybe I just did it wrong? Why is my controller vibrating so much? Well, this is certainly weird. This is not the right call, though. I really thought it would just count as me being burned still. But I think the game kind of just moved my character. So you cannot really doze off on the fire. Well, I guess it doesn't really work because the dozing off part seems very, very similar to how all the campfires in the game work. That mechanic isn't exclusive to the DLC ones. So you cannot really use that in a different way, right? Is it just going to... Okay, sure. What was that? Did it just somehow... blow me out of the space station? Looked like I was suddenly outside of it, didn't it? Okay. Well, thankfully it just resets and then it's fine. I guess that's good. Can I do that in a different way, though? I can't enter the stranger without my space suit, I'm pretty sure. Unless I... Well, No, that wouldn't really do much because I'm pretty sure that while I'm sleeping, it's technically even removing my helmet, so I cannot suffocate or something while it's happening. Yeah, the problem is the one thing that could kill me, maybe, is the water hitting stuff, but that's also waking me up in the first place, so... What connection am I not making here? Let me just enter the lab real quick. Which one was that? Ooh. Oh, really? That's not the one. That's the one. Definitely does feel weird being stuck on like one single task without many other prompts or possible things to experiment on. I mean, even that bell still seems to be intact. This one certainly is too. Well, the fire here isn't burning anyway, so... That definitely rules out using this place for anything. But it cannot be based on the loop itself, because the loop doesn't kill me. Honestly, I almost forgot that this is where I returned from. Oh, wait a second, I forgot to pick up a lamp. There we go. I might just want to test that again, but... I'm also quite certain that whatever the solution is would have to be something that is essentially active all the time. So it's not... I don't think that it is something that would, you know, like the dam crashing, be like only accessible very, very briefly, or because the other two you can pretty much do whenever, right? Never actually roasted a marshmallow here. Oh, whoops. Okay, but while I'm dozing off, it removes my helmet, right? Because I was just thinking, what if I just get rid of all my oxygen? But that's not it, because this place has breathable air. So I cannot suffocate while I'm doing it. But Did I just activate the bell by myself? Huh. I did not realize that was a thing. But yeah, if I do this, yeah, it moves me away from the fire, so that's not it. And then I'm waking up at that point, so that's not what's supposed to happen. Can it take damage some other way? Instead of burning? Can something crash into me? What can I do that kills me? That takes a couple seconds so that I can doze off. Yet at the same time, I'm going to sleep. Ghost matter would do it, but I cannot really take that with me. And there's no fire that's close to that stuff anyways. It's good that you guys still have faith, because I'm really, really running out of ideas here. Do I need to die? Technically, it's just the sound waves that shouldn't be emitted, but it's not the bell doing anything. How can I die? That's such a weird question to answer, but... some sort of electricity that I could take with me. But it needs to be within the chamber too. That's the weirdest part about it. So it cannot be anywhere else. And I cannot activate her. Cannot deactivate the ship's controls or something. That isn't it. Oh, how then? How does this work? It can't be that complicated. It just cannot be. The other two solutions are so simple. What else means that I would be able to wake up? Except for the loop ending, but that doesn't... cannot be... Doom, hi. Place itself, I can't really influence. Everything that happens here, it happens all the time. I can't use the flamethrowers either. Can I use or activate flames somehow? I could burn my jetpack, but that doesn't kill me. I can't jump up high enough. I cannot remove my suit, and even if I did, it wouldn't really do much. Can I die first and then doze off? No, not really. I guess that's what I just did, and it bugged the game out. I'm close to winning, but it feels like I'm really, really far away from it, honestly. The flamethrowers, well, yeah, the things they use to burn the temples of the Eye of the Universe, right? The thing where you refuel your jetpack. Those are flamethrowers, yeah. I didn't realize at first either. Just thought that, hey, I can refuel my stuff, but yeah, they have flamethrowers on the end of the hose. Can I decompose somehow like they did? That doesn't really make much sense. What else is there to take damage from? Not much. Falling down. Chambers are too small for that though. That's the thing, right? These chambers are so tiny, and what are you supposed to do here besides? Hey, buddy. Sorry about that. Just trying some stuff. Would be funny if I could, you know, use one of the hammers, if I would be able to sort of sit between the hammer and the bell, and it would just start knocking me out instead of ringing the bell. So you guys don't hear the bell, because you're dead. But if one of them inside of the simulation knocks me out, then I just wake up. Same if I fall through the water. So I need something that where the bells just don't affect me, and it needs to be... I also find it so strange that the two other instances where you interact with the bells, they're so easy to overcome, and yet this seems so far away. There goes the dam. I mean, that's such a short sound as well. That's not going to tune out the bell ringing. Wish I could set these things to snooze. That would work. You're never waking up in that case. There's also nothing to crush me to death. If I could stand like on the bridge while I'm asleep, yeah, then it would work, because that gets blown away, right? So wait, you can play this game in VR. I did watch the reel a couple of times in my ship. Could be. But the reel itself really just tells you, hey, be dead, and then you cannot wake up. And in the other reel, we saw a person dying, and it ignited their lamp. That was about it. Sound design is top notch, yeah. I mean, it's with everything in the game has really, really good sound design, especially the music they also play. And then when you know about their fate, how they left everything behind, it even adds to what you hear when the simulation starts. Oh, it's a mod. Okay. Another one of those weird Sony things, right? Imagine if this game was available for the new Sony headset. Maybe then people would actually buy it. How is this? They would definitely have to add something to yeah, make the motion sickness less of a concern. Certainly still a big problem for VR games. I guess I do just need to rewatch that reel again. Because going to the test chamber certainly didn't do much. Why are the other two so simple compared to this one? That is so strange. I mean, I know that's probably the way I'm understanding it, but how can that hint be so difficult for me to understand? Make it simple, yeah. Well, I hadn't even realized that it shows up here. That's really cool. It has such a nice design, that thing. Large metal structures suspended by chains. Entered by swimming from below. A lake. But while I'm inside, I cannot really die. It's something to do with your real body. Closed and sealed. Okay, yeah, these are the 3 closing things. Maybe by rewatching the other 2. Okay, but this just tells you, okay, leave the lamp behind and exit. Right. Once you do that, easy enough. You see what's happening. This one. I mean, I didn't figure it out right away. Although, never mind. Wait, you leave the lamp behind. Well, that I didn't really figure out. I didn't really figure out the connection between the 2, right? This one I kind of saw immediately, and then it's very apparent that you can get to the middle one once you're in that space. But again, it tells you, hey, do that. That is also strange. So those 2, they don't give you the solution right away, right? They tell you what to do. They don't give you the solution. They tell you leave the lamp behind, and they tell you jump off. Those things you can just do, and then you need to understand what to do with what you just did. And that's how you arrive at the thing. So if I try to combine that with... Well, first of all, let's take another look at this one, although I don't really think it's gonna... This just tells me how to activate the thing, right? Brainwaves active, bright, that's happening. It's transporting you into the world. Then they tried it with an old person. Well, I cannot really make myself old, right? No brainwaves anymore. Oh, What this shows, though, is that in theory, if I'm holding a lamp and I'm, I guess, inside of the circle next to the fire, the lamp sort of self-activates? Is that the simple solution that I've been missing? So if I just die next to it without actually... I think I should have rewatched the other reel, huh? Grandpa died, yeah. Poor little guy. Technically he didn't die, right? He just... His brain got copied over. Which is quite interesting in terms of how the game makes you experience this DLC, it's certainly the way you are experiencing it makes it very how can I put this? Or rather, the way the game lets you experience it, it makes it especially with how you are able to access that Matrix world. I feel like because of that, because you see the corpses, but you also see the Matrix world that almost seems, you know, very computer gamey. I feel like that creates an impression of them not really being alive anymore, whereas they themselves clearly thought that it was a great idea to do that, or at least most of them did. So, I don't know, I find that interesting. It's definitely, I don't know if that's the game's intent in terms of how it's portraying it. Definitely seems to send a message of, hey, even if we were able to copy our brain into some sort of virtual world, it's not really being actually alive, right? Which is definitely quite an interesting topic, I think. To just think about, well, what really facilitates our life, right? If it's all the emotions and stuff, and all your feelings, what you can feel, your senses. What if technology really reaches the point sometime where we can simulate all of that to a degree where it is indistinguishable from real life? Would we be able to build a simulation like that? Would it actually feel like real life? Would it need to play some tricks on you? I'm almost scared to do the fire thing again, because I don't want it to glitch out again, but I mean, last time the reason why it glitched out was because I pressed the sleep button, I guess, very quickly before I actually died, whereas now I just want to die. I don't want to press anything else. Oh yeah, the Turing test. I mean, that's sort of a very central concept to computer science in general. Short trip back to the stranger. Honestly, kind of want to try and kill... That sounds bad, right? Kind of want to try and kill myself another way, but... Bye-bye. Well, I guess I rewatched the wrong reel, huh? You know what? I think... Yeah, it definitely just helped me to think about it in terms of, well, what are the other things telling you, right? Because I don't know, I think I was connecting the idea of dying too much to the bell and how that would actually change how I approach that bridge. But instead, what you want to do is, well, kind of look at the other two that are just telling you to do something, and then afterwards, that's going to lead to something else. Is this the right path? Yeah, I want to... Wait, do I want to get to the boat? Oh yeah, I do. I do want to get to the boat. Because now I'm pretty sure I have all the pieces. How long did that take me, by the way? Unless this is wrong, which I kind of... Now I'm kind of scared that it is. I don't think it is, but... I think I was on this particular one at least for 2 hours, I want to say. Holy shit, that's long. Mr. Boat, come over here. It's good that we are in a time loop though, right? Because otherwise this wouldn't work. Or rather, it would only work once and then we could never tell anybody about it ever again. Okay. Let's not go too fast though. I don't know, like 5 minutes. Yeah, let's just say it was 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm almost too exhausted to really... Like, that took some mind bending on my part. I don't know. I feel like I had to really unwrap my mind there. Is this the right... No, that's the right way. Oh, you can enter that place too. Or maybe I even did that at some point. I guess, why wasn't I thinking about the fire burning me to death? I think, Yeah, that is really weird now that I'm thinking back on it. It must have been because I honestly somewhat... Well, I didn't forget about the old dude dying. But I think somehow my mind must have disconnected that particular information with the puzzle. Alright, now hopefully this works. Ah! They're actually just silent! Okay, that's brilliant. I had not expected that, although now it definitely is completely correct. I simply cannot hear these things. I don't know. Somehow I just expected them to ring, but simply not wake me up. But, yeah. Huh. Crazy. Okay, I need to leave my lamp behind. Yeah, I think what finally did it was realizing that the other two... Like, so when you look at the ship log, the other two have two things attached to them, right? The reel that tells you about the bug in the Matrix, and the other reel that tells you about... What even was it? Whatever they did at that point, right? The other reel. But the middle one has 3, not 2. Because it also shows you how they went to sleep in the first place, and that there is a difference between being alive and being dead. And I think that's the final small piece that kind of uncoiled my brain in that moment and said, wait a second. If there are 3, maybe both of the last 2 actually correspond to the puzzle. So then it was kind of clear that I had to die. And just die and don't do anything else. I don't know, the concept of actually just dying. I was even saying that the entire time, but what also confused me so much, and that's where I overcomplicated it massively for myself, is that I constantly thought about it in terms of I need to go to sleep and then die. And I don't know how I even came up with that in my mind, because the old dude that is dying in front of it, well, he dies and then the lamp activates on its own. But for some reason, I had it wrapped up in my mind that I need to activate the lamp to make sure that I get connected to the Matrix, and then I need to die. And I had that in my mind the entire time, and I was thinking, well, how do I achieve that? How do I get there? When the actual solution was so much simpler. Just die. Lamp's gonna activate on its own. You have to be dead. Yeah, I don't know how many times I repeated that phrase in the last 2.5 hours or something. I probably said it at least 20 times. Um, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I didn't actually solve it, is because I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to die. I was just the way to do that. The connection. The problem wasn't that I didn't know what I had to do. The problem was that I somehow got it in my mind that that dying needed to happen after I activated the lamp instead of the lamp activating automatically. Somehow that information, I obviously noticed it. I looked at that reel 2 or 3 times at least, but that didn't really, somehow the fact that my character is very much alive and not a corpse disconnected my brain from that. I don't know. Well, now I got it, which is good. Oh wait, need to, whoop. There we go. Do I want to be outside of the lamp's radius or inside? Probably inside, right? I want to see what actually happens. Also, let me turn on some candles. There we go. Just make it a little more, cozy and not as dark as it was. I'm hearing some static. I think that's very much on purpose. As if the simulation is starting to break. Oh, that's... What is happening here? Does it not know what to display when this thing is open? Do I just want to get through? I want to take one look at it without the lamp, though. Just way too curious about this. This took me so long to get to. Well, not like much. Huh. Is there a point in me entering, though? The funny thing is also, I cannot wake up anymore, right? Because I am very much still dead. This is eerie. Ooh. Telescope that they used. Into the sarcophagus. Well, thanks for the congrats, but I don't know if this is safe. So, I guess the initial moment when they received signal from the eye of the universe, right? At least that's kind of what this is connected to. Oh, hello. Let's turn on the lights a little bit. Oh, wait, that's their home planet, though. Looking back on it? Were they studying it in order to create the simulation? Oh, a final thing to enter your artifact into? The game is good at one thing, it knows how to end stuff. Do I need to remove it again? I guess so. Okay. We're in another one of these chambers. Oh. Am I hearing the other ones again? Everything is safe. Yeah, sure. Oh, hi, buddy. I feel like you're the last one. So, okay. I guess he initially wanted to reach out and potentially kill me or something, but now he doesn't want to. I wonder... Is this a guy who tried to exit the simulation, but maybe he wasn't actually able to do that? Wait, the prisoner. Who are you? I guess they're also not understanding me, like Selenium was in the beginning. Whoa. Oh, he's scanning himself. Oh, that's one of their cool scan devices. So this way I could look into his mind. Creating the vault. Right. I didn't see the last one. So he is the one who exited? That I saw with everybody else coming up, so... Oh, what the f... What the hell? I was gonna say, the signal is still gone, so... Wait, didn't the... I don't remember if the Nome mentioned the second pulse coming out, that it was calling out again. Vision torch. Project? Oh, can I... Now I can show him what eyes... Oh! What? We were telling him everything about what we saw. I suspect this would be very different depending on the timing of when you finish this. It's even really making you nostalgic for everything that's happened in the base game too. Or no, my ghost matter coming. And then we are there. Finding out what happened. Creating another chapter in their lives. Even though they didn't know it. So that's us then. What is... Is he like rewatching that or something? Can I follow him? No. Oh. Did he like leave the simulation somehow? So, am I just exiting again? Or how does this work? Because I'm still dead, technically, right? Dog, thanks for the raid again. That was absolutely beautiful. I guess this is it, right? Because, I mean, the loop's still in effect, but we've rescued him? I beat the base game, yes. Oh, you just finished as well. Such an incredibly beautiful moment. I loved every single millisecond of that. So incredibly well done. Can I just go back here though? I don't even know how really to describe it, except that it was just really, really beautiful. Although incredibly sad too that he was imprisoned. I got that totally wrong. The entire time I thought that the vault was somehow the core of the simulation, or the mainframe computer thingy. But that's what they did. So there was one, I was right in that. There was one who didn't agree with what they were doing, which also means that they essentially just assumed that the Eye of the Universe resetting everything was bad, or they looked at it as being bad instead of it actually being evil. Like, I still think we can pretty much think about the Eye of the Universe as something that is neutral to everything else. but I mean, that they would imprison him for doing that, I can understand their anger, but that's being imprisoned inside of a simulation. That's a pretty, like, that's beyond cruel, right? I wonder what happens if you beat the DLC before the base game. I guess it's just that your vision is going to be different, right? It's probably not going to contain the parts that you haven't seen yet. Oh, you made it to the Nomai ship, okay. Yeah, I might just want to finish the game again then. Like, go through to the Eye of the Universe. Technically, that doesn't really take that long, although the ending took quite a bit of time. Oh, well, might as well at this point, huh? I cannot believe... there are very few games who did this, but a couple that do it. And this did it as well, because, well, whatever still happens after this, I think this can kind of be regarded as the ending, pretty much, or the main ending to the DLC, I suppose. Or as the credits, I would definitely think of the vision that we showed to him, or them, as kind of the credit scene, if you will. Scene before the credits. And I think what's so incredibly or what made it so beautiful. Oh, hey, there we go. So once the loop ends, it's showing you the... Yeah, what makes it so incredibly beautiful, or even like heavily, I don't know, at least for me, elevated that moment, is you're the person doing it, right? When I first held up it's not just, they don't let you just press R1 once. You kind of have to hold it. I don't know if you have to hold it through the entire time. I did. But when I first did it, I don't know, the fact that you're doing it yourself, that you're the one deciding, hey, I am now going to show you these memories that I made, and I'm going to tell you how great the world is despite the signal that was sent out by the Eye of the Universe, or maybe even because of it. And sort of reinstating maybe his faith in life. That made it even more beautiful than it already was, I think. It's such a tiny thing, but it just makes it... The fact that it's all, like, you stay in your character, you can still move around even after it happens, all definitely heavily influences that moment as well. Yeah, the interloper you wouldn't see either, right? Yeah, the endings, I mean, the base game ending too, they are what, for me at least, truly made the game into something unique and special. Because everything else, as incredible as it is, and as phenomenal as the puzzles are, and the discoveries you make, and how physics and everything interacts with it, at the end of the day, it is just a very, very good simulation of a small solar system that has been turned into a game with a lot of additional cool stuff around it. But the ending was what elevated it beyond that into just a fundamentally emotional journey of discovery. And honestly, to a degree that I wouldn't have thought possible up until that moment. Yeah, the painting in the burning house. I wonder why, if that was just a feeling they had, or if it was something else, just a fundamental disagreement or another way of thinking about life in general. But yeah, so they were the ones that painted that, and they saw beyond what the others saw, that even though they had given up so much, and even though the eye of the universe might in fact someday destroy everything, it would also spark new life and new happiness, if you will, hope. Okay, just to make sure though, and it's fine if you tell me, I guess the ending scene will be different, or not the scene, but because I don't think I can really do much else unless there is still something fundamental that I missed on the stranger. Because I have to admit, it's way later than I have to work tomorrow. I met one of the strangest inhabitants who was imprisoned within the vault. The prisoner showed me a vision revealing the actions they took that resulted in their internal confinement. That is so incredible. Like, as if the story wasn't sad enough. And to add to that, I think, like, we were even talking about how they changed up the storytelling somewhat, in that they didn't really put so much emphasis on individual characters versus them more as a species. But I think this kind of turned that around as well, when now you have this, definitely one of them to heavily relate to what they were doing, especially considering everything that went down with the Nomai, and knowing that everything's going to reemerge in a new universe and new life. I used the vision torch to share my knowledge of the solar system's history. The prisoner left one final vision for me by the water's edge as a farewell. Oh, right. Wait, so how can it change the ending, though, if... Do I need to do it all in one loop, then? End the universe and enter the eye while I also rescued him? He's in prison in every universe except one. Well, sort of like a multiverse. Yeah, apparently they added being able to see this in the ship log. Just insanely incredible. Funny that there's still no arrows here, though. I wonder why they decided to do that. Well, I mean, this was also different. The interloper and life ending. Sure. I guess, I mean, now we're definitely at the point where, you know, I'm through everything, so it's at this point it's definitely fine if you tell me other stuff, because I do need to get to the end here now anyways, so I'm not going to be able to do much more. I guess I streamed about, I don't know, 8 hours longer than I wanted to. Oh well. Happens. To boat in the dream area and visit the outside of the sealed vault. I was at that place. The outside of it. I peeked through it. I wonder if there's... Because I was wondering if there's anything else there. I actually heavily considered going back there because I wasn't able to solve the last puzzle. Which now, looking back, is it even a puzzle? Just die. Sure. Wait, there is a Breath of the Wild reference? An island off in the distance with a cat on it and a cat sound effect? Okay, that's pretty funny. Achievement, yeah. I might have a look into the achievements. I was considering maybe... Well, I'm not gonna hunt for them, right, if they're hidden. I could look them up and just do it. Just as a fun sort of final send-off for the game. Not now, obviously, but eventually. Tubular? What the hell is that one? I did look up a couple of the hidden ones from the base game. I think at this point, you know what? I might check into the different ending eventually. Then, if I'm going to check on some achievements, anyways, because it is really getting late for me. So, I'm gonna quit back to the main menu here. You have to ride the wave for 15 seconds? Oh, right. The wave that crashes through everything. You need to be like on top of it, like surfing on it. Oh, that sounds fairly difficult. Because you probably have to know where a bunch of the rocks are, I'd imagine. So you want to be... Because it was, I think, it hit me once while I was on the boat, and I think it was, that was already kind of rocky, and I got a little bit lucky to even stay on the boat, so, that sounds not that easy. I do have to say, though, don't want to brag here, but I did manage to land on the sun station on my first try. Still don't know how I did that. Definitely got lucky on that one, but I did do that. Probably means that I'm gonna take a billion tries for all the other things, though. There were footprints. Okay, those footprints I did not notice, no. That is really cool. So you wanted to wake up then, right? It's incredibly cruel now to think about that prison. Because you see them, like, carrying it into the simulation and stuff, and the entire time I was thinking about it in terms of, oh yeah, sure, that's like the mainframe or whatever, some weird stuff with the simulation. Considering that there was a person inside of it. Can't believe they did that. I mean, I understand their motivations, but still. That seemed so great about the Nomai, or what made them so... What made me like them so much is that they just talked about everything, right? They just talked it out. Sent messages to one another. Yeah, sure, disagree on some stuff, but ultimately, it's gonna be fine, right? Like, they were thinking about a lot of stuff. They knew that they would have disagreements. They knew that those things would have to be researched, and yeah, it's really great. But then again, I have to consider that the Owls have a very, very sad backstory, leaving everything behind. Although I guess arguably, how smart was that really? But then again, it is, I guess, receiving that signal from the Eye of the Universe, considering that it prompted the Nomai to immediately warp, for example. There must have been some sort of powerful, unique signal that just fundamentally altered how they viewed the universe in a lot of ways. In terms of the Sun Station, I definitely got lucky that I understood sort of the orbital stuff of it, but I got lucky that I was actually in the correct orbit when I was doing it, because I was just kind of winging it, right, or flying towards it, so there were definitely a bunch of lucky factors involved as well. And I think the more you try it, the more you might also overthink it. At least I would do that. Well, I've seen the credits once, right, so I'd imagine that they slightly change if you've completed Echoes of the Eye. So though I do wonder if you have to maybe complete Echoes of the Eye, but I don't know how feasible that would be in one loop to get to the Prisoner, but then also get to the Eye of the Universe. I'd imagine that maybe the Prisoner shows up there, like with Solanum and the others, if you've completed Echoes of the Eye. Yeah, I was wondering about the amount of them too, but then, yeah, the game kind of shrinks everything down, right? All the planets are also smaller. It also makes sense when you consider that if they had to pretty much destroy their entire planet to build that space station. I mean, certainly it's not small, but it's also not big by our definition of what would be big, right? So we can kind of, I guess, deduce that their home planet probably wasn't much bigger than Timberhearth or something like that. Which then would also make sense that there aren't that many of them around. Okay, you don't have to complete it in one loop, that's good then. I mean, it would be cool to just come back for like a chill 2-3 hours to the game, you know, complete it once more, maybe do a couple of achievements here and there, talk about it, about how beautiful it is, and all the emotions from the now 2 endings, how well they did that, and everything. Yeah, I mean, parts of it, definitely throughout the DLC, I sometimes thought about their visions being not exactly literal, but seeing the non-modified versions of them, I think they mostly are. I mean, there might be... It might not be exactly that. It might be that, yeah, it just took them so long, and, you know, over the course of time, maybe they had to also try building the ship a couple of times. Maybe they weren't successful in doing everything on their first try, right? So that took up some resources. It definitely skips over the finer details of the process. But as a sort of big picture, I do think that it's quite accurate in what happened. Oh, the artwork was added? Really? Oh yeah, the DLC is missing you being able to hear the others. Yeah. I mean, it is difficult to compare to the base game in a lot of ways, I would say. I do think that I personally very much enjoyed how far they deviated from the base game, and that they weren't afraid to bring in completely new concepts, as well as make it scary in parts, right? Make it sinister, dark, even so far as to almost change the genre in certain places, right? Less puzzly in certain ways. Also, definitely, I think that, you know, looking back, changing the communication up so much in terms of how you discover the backstory of the species you're looking into, that's a pretty bold step overall, and definitely not an easy feat to pull off as well as they did. And obviously, some people are going to enjoy this more, some people are going to enjoy that more. For me personally, yes, I was definitely missing the Nomai, but I think that's also largely because they're just so nice and sympathetic, and that's not really the theme the DLC was going for, right? It was going for a more darker, sad story, and so maybe adding in characters, well, certainly they wouldn't have been able to add in characters joking with each other. I think that would have been that would have felt out of place. It wouldn't have struck the right tone. Maybe they could have, you know, characterized the prisoner a little bit more, but then the discovery of there being a prisoner wouldn't have been there, so you cannot really do that either. And then I think why the discovery of the prisoner being so profound also is because there is no other character to relate to before that, right? So it's a very, very big discovery to make. Whereas if we had already met two, three, four of them a little bit closer, but then discovered that they ultimately imprisoned one of them, I don't know, it definitely would have been very different. I don't know if it's better or worse, or might be also very different for everybody, but The prison perceived that galaxies would be born from it. I find it interesting how he arrived at that conclusion. It is a very beautiful image as well. I think that is such a cool image when I saw it. Because it's not immediately clear what it means, but then it becomes quite clear when you're looking at it in terms of what the base game also shows you, and that they're utilizing the what are they? Spores? What's the thing that flowers always like populate their environment with? And make that be the galaxies, like actually life coming out of the plant, and it's pushing out new life across a possible new universe. It's a very, very beautiful image. Especially because it is more simplistic, but then also based on the slight reel you get to see, where the skull is just a skull and dead, and grass growing over it. Yeah, and then in terms of the well, yeah, they were meant to be mysterious, because it also wouldn't have worked if they tried to characterize them in a more relatable way, but then there are these scary ghosts that hunt you down. That doesn't really work together, right? And then they would have to, I guess, make it more complex, maybe add certain different clans, maybe add certain factions or something, and that wouldn't really fit with the theme of the game. So there's a bunch of stuff where you can always, sure, there are smaller ideas here and there where you can push it in slightly different directions, but every time you do that, you really, really need to be careful to not suddenly throw out certain concepts or ideas, or just overall changed the feeling of it too much. Yeah, I think that... Well, the beauty of it is also that we already have the base game, right? If you like the Nomai a lot, you can go through, play the base game again, or watch somebody else go through the base game, right? So it's not like the Nomai are gone. They're even actually quite a bigger plot point as well in the DLC, because it does explain certain things of what they did a bit better as well. And I put into perspective what they were too, because in the base game we only know the Nomai, but now these two different species now I think are also somewhat placeholders, and we can probably extrapolate from that and say that there were, I don't know, possibly thousands of species that received that signal and were capable of spaceflight and potentially went and check it out, which is also beautiful and sad and haunting to think about, that there were probably a lot of species that took it quite well, some that maybe realized immediately that it would be a cool sort of new start for them and it would be beautiful, some others that didn't take it as well, some that might have even fought and died over that information, right? I mean, I can see humans doing that. Although, funnily enough, we kind of do know that the universe eventually is going to die, right? We don't know if it starts over, though. I like to think that it does. Who knows? God. I think you can talk about this game for hours and hours, right? Yeah, it's not Nomai Species number 2. I love how they... Everything in this DLC is just different. It's just different, but equally good. And that's perfect. I mean, that's what you want, right? You don't want the same thing. Well, sometimes you do want the same thing over and over again, but not in this particular case. The number of eyes are significant. That's a pretty cool theory with the eyes. I wonder how many interpretations there... I mean, obviously the developers didn't necessarily think about all of that, but I wonder how many kind of cool, sort of symbolic connections you could draw possibly between different things of the real world, different things of these species, different means in terms of how the planets are built up, how a lot of it works. I think you can draw a lot of different parallels in this game that can possibly also... I mean, the game also teaches you a lot, I would say. Not even just in terms of orbital mechanics, but... I don't know, it has this... Well, I feel like it teaches you mostly to have a very hopeful outlook, right? Even if your entire species perishes, doesn't mean that everything's over. Which is actually something that I do tend to, you know, with, I don't know, all the discussions about us destroying our environment, I sometimes think, well, at the end of the day, if we humans somehow aren't able to survive here because we, I don't know, do something really, really stupid, we're kind of just a tiny dust speck in the universe, right? So, I don't know, a billion other stars that can still live and thrive and possibly have tiny humans on them as well. Tiny other things, four-eyed, weird things that like to do space travel in wooden ships for some reason. Because that's the material they had. The lore explorer and 90% of content is Outer Wilds. That is impressive. That's very impressive. I mean, the game certainly has lore, I'm not gonna lie, but to a certain extent. I guess at some point you have to, you know, extrapolate a lot and interpret a lot, because it's not giving you that much. Gives you a lot, but not that much, I would say. The lines being less imperfect and less stylistic, I definitely noticed that. It's especially cool because some of the messages an adult answers them, right? I think it might have been when they were talking about playing with the anglerfish or something. But there are definitely messages where kids are writing to each other and then like an adult chimes in and says, hey, by the way, you should do this, or I don't know. That's a great, I think they mention, oh, hey, that's a great game that you've invented or something. I think that was a really, really neat touch. Also, for the longest time, I didn't actually realize that the cool, like, well, at first, I don't know what I thought what they were, but it seems incredibly apparent, but I didn't realize it immediately that whenever the loop starts over, all the memories that are playing back, they're transcribed in Know My Language, right? One of those cool little details the game has a billion of. It manages, even though I would say it has a bit more of a simplistic, well, it definitely has a bit more of a simplistic graphical style to it, but it still manages to pack in so many details. And it also seems to know what details really matter, right? And where they matter as well. Still though, I mean, all the wood wouldn't be my first choice for a spaceship. That's what's blowing me away the most, is just how everything seems to have been done with so much intent, right? It's not like other developers don't do that, or that, I mean, behind most decisions, there certainly is a lot of intent. Specifically, of course, with very good games, but with Outer Wilds, it almost seems like it wasn't just one person saying, oh, I'm gonna add this. This has that meaning, and it's just a cool thing that you can look at, or a cool detail that you can look at. But instead, it feels like there were at least 3-4 different people, and everybody was aware of all of those details, and everybody had their own interpretation and idea as to what that specific detail could have been about and why it's here, and which is why it feels so impactful in a lot of ways, because everything that happens and all the details that are there, they do feel like a species has created them or left it behind, or, you know, a bunch of different physical laws went into how a planet looks like. It's not just one specific thing or one specific detail that somebody thought about. Yeah, and they're experts in level design too. So many, like even minute details that allow you to do things in a certain way, and push you to think about it in a different way too, right? Some of the level design and some of in the way that it's done, in how they built it up, it feels like whenever they realized, oh, this might be somewhat difficult for the player to understand, or maybe this is a puzzle that's going to be difficult for a couple of people, they always give you different perspectives, right? They force you to think around and maybe enter a room in 2 different ways, or interact with a thing in 2 different ways, or if you don't get it, maybe the next loop is going to show you something, or there's going to be a message that tips you off, and that done with so many things and so many connections. So it really feels like the development itself kind of must have looked like the rumor map in the end, where everything sort of, you know, interconnects with each other, and that thing influences that, and that, and which was another big factor, especially in the base game as well. I mean, the DLC, of course, it being the DLC, is a bit more self-contained, but in the base game, everything is connected, which was such a joy to figure out, because it's so rarely done in games that they manage to really bring everything together. It always feels like, oh, well, maybe there's a side story here, there's a side story here. Even if the main story is great, it's very, very rare that you're able to do that. And then even connect it to the world and to the level design, and it's insane how well this is done. Yeah, tower falling black hole. So many things that you can notice if you just sometimes just stand still, right? And you kind of, which is so brilliant. It's brilliantly done with the loop that you go back to your ship. You can look at your log and think about things. You can come up with certain things on your own. Other things you might have to go back to certain places, right? So many different avenues to pursue in how you can approach it and how you can solve it. Right, water nullifies ghost matter. I mean, that's, I think sort of the relation that ghost matter is supposed to be like a radioactive substance, or heavy radioactive substance, is kind of a good comparison. Yeah, which is why the Harthians are able to survive it. Because at the point where it happens, they're still in the water. I mean, that's why you can find one of the stone plates on Timber Hearth, right? In the water where the Nomai painted that scene where the Harthians are still small little tadpoles and the Nomai are looking at them. You mean the artwork with the skull that has the flower growing out of it? That's in the dream world or simulated world in the DLC, in the second area, the burnt down temple. That was behind the alarm, right? Yes, it's behind the alarm. When you take the small little boat, you get to the burnt down temple. That's where the picture is. If you open it up. Sometimes it takes a long time for you to get to the right angle or get to the right idea, yeah. But they definitely give you a lot of ways to do that. Oh, it was the prisoner's house. Ah, that makes sense then why there would be a picture. Right. I didn't think of it like that. Because it is somewhat confusing why there is a burnt down building within simulated reality, right? But he was in there before, and he exited it, did all the probe things, which then subsequently, I think, after that, right, they also burnt down the probe controls so that nobody else could do what he did. Yeah. Ah, right. That's a really, really cool interpretation of the telescope. Yes. I mean, he even had one in his prison, right? That one was looking at their home planet. But that's I think that's pretty spot on. Yeah, that he probably, whatever he saw originally in the Eye of the Universe, he thought that it was still right, or that it was still worth pursuing. I think we can say that he was right in doing so. As sad as their story is, yeah, the fact that they even abandoned the second world, the spaceship they lived in, to get into the simulation, pretty sad to think of them like being contained in that. put in a lot of work to prevent anyone from ever discovering him. Yeah. Which is crazy. That they went through so much effort, right? Which, I mean, I wondered throughout the entirety of the DLC why. Maybe it was also to just deter others from making the same mistake that they did. Definitely a lot of different reasons for it. Well, anyways, it's getting later and later. I should definitely get to the end here. It has been an absolute joy. It has been absolutely incredible. I mean, I think kind of the stream time speaks for itself of how much I was enjoying this. I hope you were enjoying it too. It was incredible. Thanks for everybody being here. Thanks for the raids and follows that have come in. It was such a joy to go through, and such a beautiful discoveries throughout the last 2 weeks with this game, and it's definitely, well, it is one of my favorite games of all time. That I can say for sure. I don't think that I don't like to have like a list of, oh, this is better than that, because they're so different, right? I guess I just have a pool of, I don't know, 5 to 10 games that have just been incredibly impactful. And this is definitely now one of them. And now I can finally check out the No-Clip documentary. I'm going to check out other streams of it, seeing how others got through it, seeing how others are interpreting different stuff, discover different stuff, what routes they took, and possibly also small little details that I've missed that I can still pick up on. Oh yeah, and the patch notes, that's a good thing. Definitely look for the podcast. Yeah, the No-Clip thing has been recommended to me quite a lot over the past week. YouTube knows what's up. Well, anyways, I need to get to the end. I need to get to bed and sleep. So once again, thanks for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, morning, day, or evening, wherever you are. And maybe I'll see you for, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next, really. I do want to play Final Fantasy 1 since the Pixel remasters have released now. But I would like to do like maybe a little small recap stream or achievement stream or something for Outer Wilds. That feels that would be cool to have another chance to talk about the game. But I'll try to keep my stream schedule here on Twitch updated if you want to look into that. But other than that, again, thanks for being here. And until next time, bye-bye.